Hello dear friend, Fisher here. Today we continue with our beautiful story, The Power of the Spirit, by ALFRED HOSP, also known as Freddy in the book. Bruno just giving a talk to his acquaintance and continue with his topic is God is everywhere, and then he's here not only for Germans, but he's here for the humankind, for everybody, to walk on the spiritual path, the path of God. And also Bruno give a very, very good example here. And he said, once, one of my friends was sitting alone on a couch in his room, and suddenly there was someone next to him who said, "Greetings, I am your friend Bruno." But my acquaintance had an unpleasant feeling, even though the stranger looked exactly like me. And he replied, "No, I feel that you are not Bruno. Get away from here." The false Bruno disappeared with a shriek, and then the genuine Bruno came to visit him some time later, after passing the test. You see, my friends, it always comes down to the right feeling. So learn to feel in an unbiased, unprejudiced way, and then you live and act in God's protection. It is a very short paragraph, but it's very, very powerful here. And then Bruno talking about feeling. And Bruno always say about feeling. How do you feel? He hardly said, how do you think? Because when we think, we use our mind. And then our mind can be deceived into thinking, or can be tricked into thinking something else, something different. Depends on our perception of reality. And often our perception of reality is very limited. So that's why Bruno always said, how do you feel? Because you're feeling, if you have trained yourself to feel in the unbiased and unprejudiced way, like what Bruno always said, do not judge, and then you will always live and act in God's protection. And often you hear most men always say, "Oh, I think this is not right, and I think this and I think that." So man is more left brain and then tend to think. This is just a biological differences between men and women. And women always say, "I don't feel right." And then men say, "Oh, okay, I don't understand this. What's about feeling, it looks right, it seems right to me, but why don't you just feel right? Why you don't just feel right?" So often, and our ladies are blessed because women are predominantly, and lots of women especially, they tend to use their right part of the brain, which is emotion, feeling, intuition, creativity. And then somehow I think that's a God gift to a women, of course, to a man too. But women have stronger sense, or we call this the sixth sense, or the intuition. They know, and you ladies know what you feel right or what you don't feel right. And then often you can't give a reason why you don't feel right, but you just know you don't feel right. So if you don't feel right, always follow your most inner feeling. Okay, follow your feeling. If you near somebody and feels really wrong, and then you feel very uncomfortable, so that means that person, man or woman, whoever, might have a very negative attitude towards you, and he or she might want to harm you, but that's why you just don't feel right. And then in essence is his energy or her energy, the vibrations, like the spiritual energy field is so negative. And then when you near them, like you feel like their spiritual energy field is interacting with yours, and then they're vibrating on the different frequency and the different levels. So that's why you don't feel right at all, because they don't vibrate with you. It's very simple. A good person will feel very wrong, very uncomfortable near a bunch of so-called bad persons. And then, of course, a bad person will feel wrong near like a bunch of good people too, because the two vibrations, they don't match to each other. and then you don't know why, and there's people in your life, and it could be just strangers, and then you just, when you talk to him, when you talk to them, when you engage with them, you just feel so comfortable. You don't know why, you just feel so right. And then you have a lot of friends or even family members, relatives, they've been with you for years, but you just somehow don't like them. Not to judge them, but you just don't feel right with them because their vibe is just not as same as you, regardless good and bad. So the vibrations, your energy field don't match each other. So that's why you don't feel comfortable with each other. And then the evil's always there, as what Bruno said previously. The evil's always there, waiting to attack you, always, in your whole life. I'm sorry. That's the reality, of course. Like God's protection is always there for your whole life too. It really depends what you choose, good or bad. You know that the devils or the evil's forces, they're always there ready to attack you, and then you just have to protect yourself and always make sure you live under God's divine guidance and God's divine protection, and be convinced that God is always with you. So this way you do not have the anxiety in front of evil. But these days is so many people, they have so much anxiety in front of evils. They have so much fear, worry, sadness, this and that. And then I just went for a walk, and I see people all around, and then they hardly smiling. I don't see them smiling. I'm probably the only silly persons have smiles on my face. Most people, they exercising, they all have a mask on. And I could, even with the mask on, I could see them distressed. And then this and that, so I'll probably worry about being killed by the virus. But dear friends, you're gonna always believe and always be convinced that you have a God's protection. Anything happen to you in your life serve a purpose, serve a good purpose for you to learn, for you to evolve, for you to uplift your consciousness. So have no anxiety. Once you have anxiety, you cut yourself off from God's divine protection, like you're cutting your phone off of a conversation with your friend or whoever. So if you are really genuinely believing God and God's divine protection, and then nothing will harm you. The Lord is my shepherd, and He will guide me when I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, unharmed. So always convince yourself, dear friend, that God always stronger than the evil. The devil, the Satan is mighty, God is almighty. But be convinced, and always trust and believe. And then that you are protected. Our human mind is very strong. Very, very strong. You're gonna always believe you are stronger than anything, any disease, any whatever, like the illness in the world. You are stronger. So this way, because your belief will manifest into reality, they'll strengthen your immune system. It's very simple. Whoever perpetuated fear will shut down your immune system. So if you don't want to get anything, the virus, whatever, don't be fearful, because whatever you fear of, you attract them to your life. So I don't know how you get out of your worries or fear exactly, but I know if you wanted to, you will find a way, and God help is always there for you. And then there are so many tests in our life. And then we trust our inner feeling, our innermost feeling. So this way we'll live a life without worry, without fear. Because once we convince God is always there to protect me, what things else do worries you? Okay, dear friends, I wish you have a good day and God bless.